really quick, let me just set up this diagram. We had the gold room, and we had the rows, and we had 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. A potential of 3, I guess. A potential of 3. And there was 1, 1, 2, 3, right? And let's see, M is earlier than L and is in the same room, so M comes before L is either in G or R. You cool with that?
Yeah.
Yeah, what was your name again? Sorry.
Bobby.
Bobby. Cool. Okay, good. Neither X nor Y is earlier than Z. So Z has to be before X and Y, or Z has to be with X or Y, right? Because it just can't come after.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. Then it says L is in gold, then X is in Z, and must be in, X and Z, sorry. X and Z must be in R. Okay, so if L is up here, then Z, X are down here. I'm writing it like that because that's the order that they're going to be in, right? Z is going to be before X in R.
Okay.
Bobby, how do you feel about these rules so far?
Good.
Good? Okay. Now, quick question. Do we have any floaters? Oh, I didn't even write down the rules. LM, or variables. LM, X, Y, Z. Oh, that's everybody. So, LM, X, Y, Z, 5. So one of these is going to be empty. We just don't know which one. Okay, cool. Question 13. So, here's the principle for substitution questions. 1, they always come last, at least so far. 2, we may jump around and do the if questions first, but substitution questions, no matter what, I would do it last. 3, you're taking a rule, one of the rules away from the game.
Yeah.
Now, what do rules do? They help.
Yeah.
Okay, what do you mean by that?
Take them away and.
Wait, hold on. Before you take them away, I'm just saying, what do rules do? Before we even take them away. They restrict the game. Right? Like, this game has 1, 2, 3 rules.
Right.
If we added another rule, it'd become even more constrained.
Yeah.
So when you take a rule away, there becomes a void, and it becomes less constrained. It's still constrained by the rules that remain, right? But if you take this rule out, actually, what are they asking us to do here? So which one finally is substituted for the constraint that neither X nor Y can be earlier than Z? So we are getting rid of this entire thing right here.
Yep.
Right? If we take this away, all of a sudden this game becomes a lot more flexible. So in the past, I've talked about this in terms of Goldilocks, but I think I have a better analogy now.
Awesome.
We are looking. It's like you've taken the parents away.
Okay.
Right? They're going away for the night, and we are looking for a babysitter who's going to come in and have the exact same constraints, same rules,
right.
Same bedtime, etc. So the replacement rule cannot be too strict. Can't tell the kids to go to bed earlier than the parents would, right? Then that rule would not be a good replacement because they're saying would have the same effect in determining the schedule of speeches with regard to rooms and times.
Okay.
So it's got to be a babysitter who does the exact same thing. If the babysitter's too lax, like, yeah, sure, whatever, you can go bed at 9, that's fine. Then that's not a good replacement either, right? We're looking for a person that's a perfect replacement of the parents.
Mm-hmm.
So the wrong answers are wrong because they're too strong, too restrictive, too weak, they don't restrain the game enough, or both. But it doesn't matter whether it's too strong or too weak. If it's either one, then the answer choice is wrong.
Okay.
Okay, so we're getting rid of this rule. Now let's look at, so this is 13, let's do it right. 13, A, B, C, D,
Yeah,
E.
so would you just be going down the list and plugging each rule in and seeing if you get a similar...
Well, a lot of these you can answer just right away.
Yeah.
So you're pretty familiar with the game at this time because
Okay.
you've done the game, right? So let's take a look at A, for example. Long's speech must be at 3. Does it have to be at 3? Was there ever a scenario where L was not at 3? Oh, you're shaking your head, Bobby. What does that mean?
Long just has to be in the gold room.
Well, if it's in the gold room, right, then Z is before X in the R.
M just has to be before L.
M just has to be before L. So could we do like M, L, Z, X, Y? Right? As long as we can break it,
Yeah.
then what's wrong with this answer?
It doesn't have to. It's not.
Okay, it's not a good replacement, but is it too strong or too weak?
It's too strong.
It's too strong. It's a babysitter that's requiring too much of the children.
Okay.
That's it, right? So it's out. So you say too strong, wrong.
Cool.
It might also be too weak. It might not recreate the rules, but it doesn't really matter because as long as it's either too strong or too weak, it's gone.
Yeah.
So we don't even have to dig into it that much. B, M's speech cannot be earlier than Z's. M's cannot be earlier than Z's. Quick question: is this too strong? Could we have broken this rule before, under the parents? Could M have come before Z, under the old rules? Some people say yes. Yeah?
At least at the same time, right?
They could come at the same time. Could M come before? Because B is saying M cannot be earlier. Oh, I see. I'm an idiot. Okay, you're right. Yeah. Cannot be earlier. So it could be at the same time or after. Could M have come before? No, actually, no, it's still the same question. Could M have come before Z before? Anyway. If M were to come before Z, where would Z be and where would M be?
M would have to be in 1.
M would have to be in 1. Why? Why couldn't it be in 2?
Because I'm trying to remember all the rules.
The X, Y.
That's okay. M has got to be before L,
So
right?
do before L, so M can't be third, right? So it has to be either
M can't be
2 or
third. It's got to be 1 or 2. Yeah.
And
Mm-hmm.
it can't be. It could be 2.
It was because of the X, Y, Z rule.
It's because the XYZ rule. If you put M in 2, what happens?
Then L is 3.
L is 3.
And then X, Y, and Z are in the bottom.
Yeah, well, I don't care about top or bottom necessarily. If you put M here, L here, you can't put Z after for sure, right?
Yeah.
So M would have to be in 1. I don't know if it's G or R. That doesn't necessarily matter here. If M is going to come before Z, M's got to be in 1, and Z would have to be in 2. Is that going to work out?
No.
Why not?
Because Z has to. Pretty much it's always in 1, right? Because otherwise.
Yeah, it always has to be in 1. Why does Z always have to be in 1?
Because otherwise the game wouldn't fit, right? Because then the other 2 others that had to come after Z wouldn't fit, right? Because it's 2.
Yeah, where would they go?
Has to, you're splitting the 2 letters apart.
Yeah, well, they'd have to both go in 3.
Yeah.
And we can only have 1 in 3. Yeah, exactly. So Z can't go in 2. We can note that inference, by the way. Z's got to go in 1. So when answer choice B says M's speech cannot be earlier than Z's, is this too strong? In other words, is this going beyond what was known or said before? No, this is true before. Yeah. M could not be earlier than Z before, and it cannot be earlier than Z now, so this answer choice is not too strong. Is it too weak? Okay, if M can't be earlier than Z, then maybe M and Z could be together, or they could go right here. You could have MZL, and then X and Y could come before Z, violating the original rule that we're getting rid of. You guys see that? Is that confusing? No, we're okay with that? Okay, so this answer choice is not a situation in which it's too strong, but it is a situation in which it's too weak, right? It's not, even if this is true, it's not enough to force X and Y to come after Z, or at least with it. Because 2 of them could come before. You could do MZL and then XY. And still follow the rules under B.
Yeah.
So B is too weak, A was too strong. So that means A is out, B is out. Now let's go to C. Either X or Y must be after Z. What do you think? X or Y must be after Z.
No, I mean, it's not strong enough.
Why is it not strong enough?
Because it allows for one of them to go before Z.
Allows for one of them to go before. right? By saying either one or the other must come after, you're like, okay, great, that's going to get one of them after, but you know what? This is no, it's not too strong, I guess, because it is true that one of them had to come after at least, but it doesn't say anything about the other one. So now the other one can do whatever it wants. It can come before, so it's too weak. All right. So this babysitter is not forcing the rules strong enough. D, X or Y must both be at 2. What's the gut reaction to that? Sounds too strong, right? Like they have to both be here. Couldn't we do something like where you have Z, X, Y or something like that and have one of them go into 3? Oh wait, it's not saying actually that both of them have to be there. It's just saying that at least one of them. Okay, so at least one of them. Did at least one of them have to be in 2? Either X or Y.
Yeah.
I think that did have to be true before. I don't see how you could do it otherwise. Maybe you could do, no, because ML have to be together. I was thinking you could do like Z, Y, ML, and then put one of them over here, but you got to have ML in the same row. So, you know, this had to be true before. We had to have at least one of them in 2. But is that going far enough? If one of them has to be there, could we do 1 here and then do Z here? I mean, it's just saying either X or Y must be a 2. Okay, I got one of them at 2. Now I put Z back there, right? It doesn't actually say anything about the order of Z in relationship to X or Y. Bobby, you seem puzzled.
That rule right there says Z is before X.
That's if L is there.
Well, if, yeah.
Yeah, so we
Makes
can say,
sense.
hey, let's avoid that problem. Just put L down in the bottom.
Gotcha.
All right.
Can we do yum y l z x?
Hmm?
Can we do yum y l z x?
Yeah, so if we have like X here, right? According to answer choice D, we could put Z back there. Right, because it's just saying at least Y, at least one of X or Y has to be in 2. And so you're like, okay, I did that. I'm done with that rule. Now Z can go wherever it wants, right? It could go here, or it could go up here. So it's not strong enough. All right, so last one. Z speech must be at 1. This is something that we just realized is true. Right, we realized that Z can never be in 2. So this answer choice is not what? It's not too strong because this was true before. Z had to be in 1. Is it strong enough? If Z is in 1, will it force Z to be before or with X and Y? Yes, right? Because there's no way that they could come before Z. I think E sounds too strong, but it's not because Z has to be first.
Okay.
Questions on substitution questions?
So you say just go ahead and leave them at the end, just because if you have time for them, you can do them.
Yeah, leave them at the end of the game if you're doing 4 games. If you're not planning to do 4 games, or if you don't finish normally, like even if you only have a couple questions left, it might make sense just to skip substitution questions for that section because they tend to take a lot of time. They tend to be difficulty 5, so you're likely to get them wrong. That time might be better spent on another question that you might be doing in the last game, right? Like if you can only do 3 of the last 6 questions, well, maybe now you can do 4 because you skipped the substitution question. Maybe you can do 5 actually because you skipped the substitution question because it would take up 2 questions worth of time, right? And then you're probably gonna get it wrong because it's difficulty 5. So it's like you might as well spend that time on easier questions. But if you're planning to finish, you know, if doing 4 games is a reasonable goal for you, then of course you should try to do it during the game so that you're not coming back to it and trying to remember. Yes.
Conceptually, I've thought about these games as like must be true questions in the sense that I just look at them and then I cross out or I eliminate answer choices that I automatically see are not true in the game.
Yes. So what standard you're doing is this too strong?
Okay. Yeah.
Because by saying does this have to be true, and you're like no, it doesn't have to be true. Then that answer choice is too strong.
Okay.
Yeah. So you do want the other side of that because sometimes they must be true, but they're not strong enough.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like I think if it said something, for example, like if it said X has to come after Z,
Well, that's true. But
it must be
why?
true, but not strong enough, right?
Okay.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Do these come up like once, you would say, in a game section?
Yeah, I would say once or twice.
Or twice?
Yeah. it's been back and forth. Most cases it's just been once, but yeah. Alrighty. Any other questions on substitution questions? Okay.